In today's episode, I'm going to take a serious look at Shime Waza, the strangles and chokes that we use in judo, jiu-jitsu, and all fighting arts. So stay tuned. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Scott, and welcome to another episode of Freestyle Judo. Well, today's show is going to be a bit different than our normal shows in that I'm going to kind of blab up front here and talk about a few things up front here to explain what we're going to do, and then I'm going to let the videos roll. About midway through, I'm going to stop and explain what's going to happen in the second part of the show, and you'll see what I mean when we get there. But the subject today is Shime Waza. Strangles and chokes. Shime means to constrict or to squeeze something together, and waza means technique. And so it is, you're constricting an opponent. And the basis for constricting an opponent is to control them and trap them. Okay? That's what we're going to focus on in today's show. How to control and how to trap an opponent. Over the years, watching this, kind of doing some thinking, not just me, but other people too, they're pretty much fundamentally two ways of controlling an opponent before you strangle him. And this is probably the case in all submission techniques and pins as well. And these two primary ways of, one is to isolate him or restrain him. Restrain your opponent. Keep him from moving. Restrict his movements totally, okay? And the second way is to roll him into a strangle or a choke. And this rolling adds momentum. It creates momentum, which adds a lot of torque. Of course, adds a lot more pressure to the strangle. And of course, then there are techniques that blend together. There's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You know, probably not every technique has just one aspect or the other. They all tend to blend together. But those are the two primary ways of controlling an opponent. When you think about controlling an opponent too, and you think about strangling or executing these submission techniques, there are three primary things we have to work on. Control is number one. We're going to talk about control a lot here. That blends directly into trapping. Control number one, trap your opponent. Trap the body part you want to isolate and get, okay, and attack. So control number one, trap number two. Number three is apply the technique. Whether it's an arm lock, you want to lever the arm out, stretch it, crank it, bend it. Or in the neck, you want to apply the strangle. Apply it against the carotids or against the trachea as a choking action. So in a pinning situation, you would control them, you would trap the body part you want to go for, and then stick them in a pin and control them there for a time hold, whatever period of time required to win the match. So there's some commonality, and there's some methodology across the board to ground fighting and submission techniques in particular. Don't think of a technique or any technique as an isolated event. It's everything is connected. There's a methodology to everything. And certainly there's a methodology to choking somebody or strangling somebody. And it's really important to look at it this way. There's a pattern of movement that you want to create, that you set up, you establish, that creates another movement or another result, indicating that you have control of them, and then you can finish it out and strangle them, choke them. So the movement is essential, and how you move him, how you control him, is the key to what we're going to talk about today. So anyway, that being said, we're going to look at Shime Waza, strangles and chokes, and I'm going to show a variety of different types of strangles and chokes. The first part of the video will be on restraining and controlling an opponent and setting them down and just parking them there, and then applying the strangle or choke. The second part of the video, the second part of today's show, will be on rolling your opponent to add momentum, to gain momentum, and to add more torque and power into the strangle. So about midway through, I may break and explain where we're going to go from there. So about midway, I'll come back on here and show again. But so the show's going to be a little bit different. I'm just going to let it roll. And just know that, number one, not all strangles and chokes are going to be shown, okay? Fact is, I didn't even show in any of these video clips the lapel strangles, the Juji-Jime, the cross strangle series. I didn't show those simply because I had other things I wanted to show. We're going to be showing about 10 or 11 different strangling, choking techniques, all different to some degree, but all going under the two primary rules of you either restrain them, number one, and apply the technique, or number two, you roll them and apply it. Now, again, there will be some that have a little bit of each in them. Understand that. And I've kind of covered this toward the end of the video, but you'll see what I mean. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into the meat of today's show on strangles and chokes, the two primary methods of controlling the body to set the strangle or choke up. Here we go. Sit there and let you choke him. You're gonna have to make him go. Okay. So a lot of times he might be on elbows and knees, or I might have snapped him down, and bam, he's here. All right. For whatever reason, I snapped him down, got him. He's on elbows and knees. I'm gonna quickly get behind him, get my hooks in, hook, get the rodeo ride. Now, whether I drive through, grab the lapels, Superman him and drive through, whatever. I'm going to do the Superman style where I'm just going to bang him, hit and go like this, like I'm diving off the building like Superman. Bam! Flatten him out. When I flatten him out, kind of uncontrolled hit there. I wanted a little more control, but see the legs are up. I'm leaning into him very deep. I've got good control here. Okay, I'm not just sitting. I could be sitting here, but when I finish, I want to be here, riding him like this. Now, when I do that, I'll swing one arm through, catch it, roll him up, and finish the choke. I'm basically hanging him, guys. That's what's happening. See, I'm leaning forward, whole weight forward into the body. His feet are off the mat, like this position, and I trap it. It's a nasty choke. So I'll get behind him, get my hooks in, see, nice and deep like a rodeo ride, flatten them out. Once I get there, choke him. Okay? Either hand doesn't matter. That's why we want to be ambidextrous. I might have a better opportunity to choke my left hand in this particular case. The next time it'll be my right hand. So we want to have those available. Always remember, choking hand is palm down, your head next to his, trap his head. He cannot get away.
His forearm or his elbow on my hip or beyond my hip. If you think about it that way, the sankaku is a really easy move to do. So the easiest way is to get wrist control and push down. And as soon as his elbow is down here by my knee or my thigh, you loop over. Don't just slide your foot up here like this, because then he just gets his arm back out and now he's passed. Push and then hook. It's almost like I'm whacking him with the back part of my cap. As soon as I get that, I've got this nice 90-degree bend and his head's pointed down. Loop up and trap my ankle with my other foot. You'll notice that my toes are pointing up. Don't point them sideways. You might think it's easier to get that way, but you'll actually give him more space. And space in sankaku means you're not choking him, okay? So loop and immediately point the toes up.
See how you're pointing the toes up to trap it, trap the knee.
From there, squeeze your thighs together, and they'll usually tap. If they don't, pull the arm over, squeeze again.
Now the point Derek is making here, don't get overly concerned about pulling his arm across your chest as some people do. That's kind of a dead giveaway that what you're going to be doing. So the idea here is to really get your legs formed around his neck. That's more important. And notice he actually turned a little bit to the side as well too. So by angling a bit to the side, Derek, you want to show that when you do that? So yes, a little side action.
If your legs are shorter, don't despair that you can't do the sankaku. You just have to turn to the side. It makes it easier for you to cross your feet. So the shorter they are, the more shrimping you do to the side. So push, and as you go to the side, you just shrimp to the side.
See the side angle here.
My legs are really short. I want to be almost 90 degrees from his head. Move over, squeeze together.
And also you can get a double trouble here with a jujigatami from that position as well, couldn't you? So you don't get the choke, you get the arm lock, and sometimes you get both. You get them in both.
Double trouble is a lot easier from the side. Sometimes even when I've got square on and he's not tapping, I'll either pull on the side of his hands here, or I'll get an underhook and pull. But either way, I'm now sideways, and I just get a hold of the arm, push my feet down, and hit side.
And get the double trouble. So one more time, the basic sankaku or sangaku triangle choke from the bottom. And there we have it, sankaku jime, the basic variation of it as we practice here at Welcome Mat. Here's a variation of the hip choke, koshi jime. It's also called the sit-through choke, and you'll see why in a second. So let's start again, Derek. So you got him on the side. With the right hand, you're going to get through there. Somehow you're going to get your lapel. There are a lot of ways to get it. We're just doing the basics. Lift up so you can everybody see that. So everybody see he's got a nice tight lapel grip there, lapel strangle. Now, with his right hand is the lapel strangle. With his left leg, he's going to filter in. He's going to trap Eric's right arm. Okay, now as he does this, I'm going to get around here. Now, there are a couple ways to do it. You want to do the spiral ride first? All right, now, with his left hand, he's going to do like a wrestler spiral ride. So what he's going to do, he's going to be stretching Eric out. And as he does this, he's going to sit through, flatten him. There you go. And it's a nasty choke.
Poor Eric.
I mean, there are guys, hand there, he's easing up because he didn't want to choke Eric so bad because it is nasty. Laces through. Now, he's really got Eric tied up in the upper body. Now, here's where it gets kind of nasty. You're going to flatten him out. See the left hand here for the spiral ride? He's going to trap in there, turn his palm up. And as you can see, it just swims through. Okay, let's look at that now. Let's come over here, and let's look over here. Now, look how he's trapped this. Now, his left hip is going to turn in the direction forward. That's why we call it a koshi jime. It's a hip choke, because you're using the hip quite a bit. Okay, and he sits back. Or he can drive his leg forward, and you can also do that. So, look at it again. Here we go here. Hook it. Sits back. Finish there. Okay.
Literally have to be holding or anywhere in between. So I want to literally pop them up a little bit, let that knee come down, shift back here, and he's already uncomfortable. So that by the time I get that,
You see with that hand back there, where you need to get that grip up.
so he's up, he should already be up, and then I'm just squeezing him into a tiny little ball there. My hand will be right there, and then notice how his chest compresses into my wrist when I do that. You're literally just like compressing everything into it. Okay. It's kind of like an inverted pulling the head down onto the choke to compress the carotids, except you're literally shoving them into the floor.
Okay, that first part of the show was about restraining someone. In other words, you're isolating him and controlling him. You can use any nomenclature you wish, but the idea is to park him there, do not let him move, totally restrict his movement as much as possible. Now, this next part of the show, we're going to look at rolling an opponent into the strangle to create momentum. This momentum then creates a lot of torque, okay? Adds more power to the strangle. So it operates on a little bit different application of applying the actual strangling action and the choking action, but it's still going to get the same result. You shouldn't get the tap out. And as my wife said, in these rolling strangles, you don't make a lot of friends when you do these techniques, and that's absolutely true because they're very, very powerful and they hurt, as the first bunch do too as well. Don't get me wrong. So anyway, this second half of the show, we're going to look at rolling that creates the torque, that creates the effect, the strangling effect. So here we go on rolling strangles and chokes. importance of rolling through when you're doing a rolling, let's say a single wing choke or a sliding lapel choke, and that type of thing, is when you finish. The finish is very important, everybody. Finish where you're on your buttocks when you're choking him. So don't just lay and bear the weight. First, do it the wrong way if you would, Derek. So just, he's going to come, he's going to roll. Now watch when he rolls Mike, and he's kind of rolling, see how he's doing the sideways, and he's kind of bearing Mike's weight on him. Okay, he doesn't have a lot of control there at the finish, okay? We don't want to do that. We want to choke him, but we want to also be in position where we can still dominate him. So let's talk about the finish. So he does the rolling single wing choke, kata hajime, and he rolls it through. But when he comes up, notice he's seated. And look, he's got the choke going there. You can see a really nice choke and everything going there, guys. But Derek is finishing the choke on his buttocks, okay? Now, if the choke doesn't work, although it would that time, if it doesn't, he can kick right over and do a jujigatami. Finish there too, the double trouble. But you want to finish not where you bear the opponent's weight, the guy you're choking. You don't want him being on top. You don't want him to bear your weight. You want to be finishing like that. The finish in these rolling chokes is really, really important because, one, it chokes them quicker, harder, nastier, and a lot of times, you know, like when my wife was competing, she rolled a number of women through. By the time she rolled and finished in this position, they were choke cold. They were out, and that's how tight they were. Okay, so you want to finish on the buttocks. It really does add to the tightness of the choke, and it adds the point of control where if the choke doesn't work, you can finish right into a jujigatami or something else. Okay, so the finish is important. So when we're drilling here tonight, let's keep drilling, but drill and roll and finish where you're up on the buttocks, and then just for the fun of it too, after you get the choke, go into a juji. Practice them both, so you get a little double trouble action out of it. Okay, want to get. Now, there are a couple of ways really to tighten it up. Like you were seeing, we're just sitting applying that. You can flatten the guy out and apply it. But when you roll somebody, and the momentum of the roll tightens the strangle. And so you're going to see this really is an effective strangle. So come on back here a little further so you get some room so you see it. Okay, and we're going to start it kind of angled this way, maybe. Like Derek, let's say, has knocked Mike down, he's thrown him for whatever reason. Derek would like to be here and Mike on his elbows and knees. Now again, if the guy's come up high on the part here, if Mike's high like this, Derek is going to send him a nice gift later for thanking him, because it's going to, boy, is he going to be able to strangle him now. Okay, whoa, that's nice. Most good guys will be on their elbows and knees. All right, so let's train for those good guys. Now with Derek, to start this, he's at the top of Mike. See him here? All right, with his right hand, he's going to grab Mike's left lapel. And he's going to grab it pretty good. He wants to start it. He's thinking to strangle already, right? So he's already got his thumb right pretty much where he wants it, right on that lapel. Now what he's going to do, he's going to come, and Derek's going to move to his left, and as he does that, he's going to wrap that lapel under Mike's chin. And here's a little trick our friend, colleague Donnie Hinchcliffe likes to do. He likes to pop down and wrap around. My wife does that too. So pop and wrap around. See that? And it's like you're adding a really strong rope around that guy's neck. But remember, he's had it nice and high. He doesn't want to do this. See how this? You don't want to, the lapel isn't choking or strangling. Your hand is. But you're holding on to the lapel. Hold down and wrap. See that? And that's a hard snap. That really makes it work. Okay? Now you notice he's coming around here now. What he's going to do, pay attention here, because he's going to roll Mike into this. When Derek does this, he's going to keep coming and turning all the way over with his left foot. He's going to step over, and notice how he pointed his toe. He's going to wrap it. He's going to roll here. He's not going to stop. He's not going to put his foot on the ground. He's going to roll it. And as he does that, this hand is ready to go. He's going to scoop under, and he's going to wing Mike's left arm, put his hand on the back of his head. I'll stay out of the way and let him do it. And he rolls him, and he comes into a seated position. When you finish, you want to finish on your butt. Kind of aim, we'll start, Mike, you look here, and we'll aim it. Turn your hand. No, that's okay. Let's show the same side. Mike. Yeah, there you go. Even more. There you go. Okay. Now, watch this. He pops it down. He wraps it. See how he finishes. You'll see this. Just go ahead. Now, see how he did it. Hands here, and he moved. He popped it down. He wrapped under. Now, see this? Now, when he does this, he's going to swing his left leg over. See that? He's sitting on it. But not there for long. He's going to be rolling very quickly. And watch his left hand. Wing. Now, turn around. Just don't choke him. Just keep him in. See the finish position. Derek's up on his buttocks. He doesn't want to roll over with Mike laying on top of him. He wants to roll. He gets more oomph out of the strangle. He gets a lot more power out of the strangle. Has a lot more control when he's coming up in a seated buttocks position. Wrap it. See how deep that is? That rolling action, the torque of the roll, just makes it a really nasty strangle. And it is a nasty strangle. It's very tough thing to pull. Come on back out here. Let's take a look at it from a distance here from the camera. He pops low. Now when he does this, listen, he wants to make sure this foot is pretty close in here. He doesn't come out of the camera. If he's coming out here and he just has his foot kind of out here, he's way too far away. He wants his right foot pretty close there by Mike. So he wants it in there. See that? Because when he steps over, he starts to roll. He's going to dig that. So he wants his body close enough for this posture, stays close enough so he can quickly swing his foot over. And when he pretend Mike's there, just like you roll it, point your toe. Watch how he would roll his toes. Watch his left foot. He rolls it this way. It's almost like he's doing almost a throw. Okay? He's throwing himself, so he's pointing his toe. That gives him really good control of that whole body rolling and the leg action. One more time.
Perpendicular, guys, not like this. I'm not rolling it sideways. It's not a barrel roll. I'm going head first and then over the shoulder, just like the shoulder rolls we practice at the beginning every day.
That's a good point.
The lapel is your handbrake. So if you're worried, well, I'm going to hit the ground or whatever, pull on the lapel, okay? It will slow you down. Okay? Boom. Knee in here.
See how what he's talking about here?
Perpendicular. Okay? I'm not going to turn this way, get my hook and roll that way, because then I end up with him on top of me carrying his weight.
That's a really good point. If you start, this is a good point. Thanks for bringing it up. Point sideways like this, you will get more torque into the roll. And that's what he just pointed out there.
That's really how you get him tapping halfway through. Or like that, you choke out halfway through.
Yeah, if you strangle them out, they'd be out by the time you finish the roll.
There we go.
There you go. Can you start in here and let me see. Let's start from the button. Let's finish. We'll see how it finishes. Okay. Start there. There you go. Can you see how it finishes on the buttons? Finish wrong when he's laying on you. You don't want his body weight on you. Watch, he's going to do this wrong here. Yeah, it's got he doesn't want Mike on top of him. Okay? He wants to finish where he's on his buttocks and Mike is here in front of him. And he can really finish the strangle with power. That's the position you want to be. See that?
I have the position, I have the control. It's easier for me to apply this. If I need to, I can use my foot to assist. Okay? I can come over, push the head down, and push with the ju-jitsu.
So you've got, finishing on your buttocks, you're in a really strong position. Just like that, you may have to do a different strangle or a different variation with the legs, or come back to a Jiu-Jitsu. So you want to have those options to finish. Let's finish strong. Okay, one more time, and then we'll let you guys practice. So this is where we were headed with all the basic stuff. When we're engaged and we're grappling, and what Derek wants to do, you know, this is kind of an unexpected move, and that's why it does work, okay? So why don't you come up just a second here. When he's grappling, when he starts, instead of being straight on, you want to start a little bit to the angle, okay? Come on in. So what he's going to do, he's got that, okay? Now when he does this with his right hand, he's going to come around Eric's neck, and he's going to reach under, and he's going to grab that lapel. So can you see how he reaches that lapel? Everybody see that? Okay, so there's the action. So he's got the lapel strangle started there. That's the setup, okay? Now, he's going to back out a little bit with his body because he needs room to roll. And you notice he's kind of at an angle. He's not straight. And that's really an important thing here to get a better roll into it. So he knows he's angled out here. Now, what he's going to do with his left hand, kind of come up so we can see here, guys. So he's got all this, okay? Now, with this hand here, if Eric has his arm in tight, still trying to defend, come on back down, guys. Derek might have to pull that elbow and drag it out and open. You've got to create an opening here. In other words, make a hole, okay? And that's what he's got to do. So he might have to pull that out and open there. Pop it out. Now he wings palm up, and he does like a kata hajime from the top. A reverse kata hajime, okay? Single wing choke, all right? Now, what he's going to do is dip his head, middle throw. He's not going to roll over his head. He's going to dip that head through the hole real hard and whip Eric over. Okay, that's what he's going to do. And he comes over, and the more he keeps rolling, the more the choke tightens, the strangle tightens. He stopped there because he didn't want to finish out and really get a bad gag effect. But you keep coming over onto your top, and you might even come over even into a tripod situation. So catch him open there, drag it open, whip, and you can finish out in a nasty, nasty strangle. Okuri Eri Jime, sliding lapel strangle. This is a fairly standard move. A lot of people do it. We do too. And it goes by different names in different clubs or groups. And now, there you go, and roll over and catch it. See how he's trapping the arm as well? So you trap both the arm and leg in your, look how Ben hooks, his right leg hooks and rolls him over and catches it. And a loop, step over, hook, and roll over. And as you see, if Ben reaches with his right hand to grab the leg, he rolls over the right shoulder. Mike will do that here. There he grabbed it, and there we have it. If the bottom guy grabs your leg, like in starting a judo switch or something, you can catch the lapel grip and catch it and roll them, as you can see the guys doing here. We'll just key in on these guys drilling on this move. Keep doing the lapel choke, guys. Just take back and forth. So Ben grabs the leg of Mike, and Mike just rolls him over in a choke. I didn't get a very good angle on that, and I'll come around so the guys can do it, and we'll watch it here. So you see Ben grabs the leg, Mike loops the lapel, catches it, and rolls. So this is Ben's answer if the bottom guy is working to get a better position to maybe go out. See how he's grabbed the bottom there? Loop, come catch the roll. And by doing that, by him grabbing your leg, you have his whole shoulder tied up very strong. You see he grabs, he loops, steps over, catches the leg, and he does the, what I always call the Hungarian roll, because I first saw a Hungarian guy do this move. So this is what we call a Hungarian roll. See how he's rolling and catching the leg?
So he's blocking the choke, let go of the leg, scoop the arm, push the head down.
Now, one of the
attacking that arm yet. Step through, grab the leg, and roll him over. And when he starts trying to block the choke, his elbow pops up. So he's just giving it to you. Pop, foot over,
Put your foot through, just tuck through. Right in this position, right in the hole. You just tighten and bow them, and you just finish the choke like that. If you need to, hop up into the arm lock.
And remember, as we say, all roads lead to Juji. There you go.
Right in the hole. You just tighten and bow them, and you just finish the choke like that. If you need to, hop up into
You're gonna have to try to do that. Okay, guys, if you want to move around so you see what Mike's doing, come over here because we're gonna get this shot here, and you can move to see because there's a lot of stuff to happen here. Okay, we're gonna work on like a crucifix. We're gonna work on how to actually, they're lapel chokes. Let's start this. We're gonna start with some lapel chokes, and there are a lot of different ways of doing lapel chokes. We're going to get into what's called Jigoku Jume or the hell strangle. By the way, anytime you use what we call the Jigoku Jume or the hell strangle, you're using your leg not to choke him with, but to assist, to trap the guy or somehow push on his head to manipulate his head or shoulders or arms. So we'll show you that in a moment here. But we're going to show you the setup that really works as kind of a good generic setup when you want to do some of the chokes we're going to do tonight or strangles. So what Mike's going to do, Derek's down on elbows and knees. By the way, if he's up nice and high on arms, oh my God, this is wonderful for Mike because he's having all this room to work. So if you're the bottom man, be sure you're on your quad position here, your four position, all fours, down like this. Now what Mike's going to do, he's going to get a nice deep grip with his left hand, okay? Now there are a lot of ways to get that grip. We're just doing basics tonight. So he's getting a nice deep grip. Remember, his thumb is about right here where he's got it under Derek's ear, okay? Now, that's his left hand, I should say, his left hand. Now, the opposite, we're gonna work on opposites. So he's got control on this side of Derek, pretty good. Now, he's gonna have control on this side of Derek pretty good too, with his right leg. So his left hand is using the lapel to strangle. His right leg is hooking for control, okay? Now, once he's got this, Mike has a lot of choices here because he's really tied Derek up. So a very obvious one, so you come up as high as you need to. Let's do the one where you roll over. So the one where Mike's going to actually, kind of with his hand, with his right hand, he's going to kind of dive through, and he's going to roll over, and he's end up in a nice choke. And when he comes in, he can strangle him, do the leg over. There you go. And you finish with a nice Jigoku Jume. Okay? All right. I'm going to coach you through that again. Watch Mike do it again. Now watch when Mike rolls. When Mike does this now, when he comes in, he needs to be high enough, and he's going to push off this leg. Now what he wants to do, he wants to roll over this shoulder and drive your arm through there, Mike. Just try this one. Roll that way, and when he does, he finishes. I'll get out of his way. He can finish that way or the leg over, okay? Now, how do you do it on him? Now, we're going to alter it a little bit. When we do this, I'm going to ask Derek to do something here. When you come in, you got that hook. Now, here's kind of a really old choke, but it's still so old-fashioned, it's cool because it works, okay? With this hand, he's going to trap Mike's arm. So he's just going to he can grab his own gi, he can just trap it, whatever he wants to do. Now when he rolls, now what he's got Mike's arm trapped here, back here. He's got Mike's arm trapped up here. He's going to roll over this shoulder, and he's going to roll Mike all the way over. Now he's not going to have a great finish position. He's going to be on his back too. But you'll see where he finishes, it's pretty cool. So he'll just roll over there, and this is the old-fashioned crucifix. So look at what he did, right? All right, so look at how they ended. He did a shoulder roll. Now look, Derek is on his back. We prefer kind of to be up on our buttocks generally, but in this particular case, you don't have to be. He's got Mike in what's called a crucifix, okay? And he's got the lapel strangle here. Notice how he's tying Mike's right arm here, Mike's left arm here, okay? That's the first one we'll work on because it's a really old-fashioned choke that really is actually very, very good. It still works all the time. And I'll have Mike do it too. So Derek's going to come in. Now in this case, Derek's with his right hand is lapel, his left leg hooks. Okay. Now he's going to trap. He's going to roll over his shoulder. He's going to come up and finish in a crucifix. And you notice it's a foot tap, like Eric was talking about before. Now, I'm going to tap with my foot. I can't tap with my hands very well, okay? Now, listen, Mike, you do it. Now, everybody does it a little bit slightly different. When Mike does it, he's a little blockier. No, just finish with the crucifix. There you go. And finish like that. There you go. Hey, snap, that's good enough too, okay? All right, did you see how it works? Okay, that's one of those old-fashioned strangles that has probably been around 100 years. I don't know how long, I don't know when it was first invented, but it still is very, very relevant because it works. Okay, let's parse that out. Why don't you, Mike, aim your head that way, and Derek, you come towards Sammy's camera. Okay, now look at it again, guys, real quick. Left hand is a strangle. He gets a nice lapel strangle here. He's starting to choke there. Okay, now, with his, that's his left hand. With his right leg, he hooks Mike's closest leg, which is Mike's closest arm, which is his left arm. So he's got Mike trapped here, he's got Mike trapped back here. All right? Now, what he's going to do, you can do this in part of the roll, but you can start it. Easiest way to learn is to start it this way, guys. With his right arm, he's going to reach up, he can grab his own gi or grab his arm and scoop it somehow. Okay? Now, what Derek's going to do, he's going to roll over his right shoulder, and when he does, he finishes. See how he finishes? Not flat on his back, but kind of on his left, and in this case, his right hip. He's trapped Mike this way. He's trapped Mike this way. Mike's in pretty much a crucifix position. And there's your finish, okay? Okay. Here's a great choke. It's a great strangle. It's a lapel strangle. It's a variation of, let me see, it'd be more like a Nami Juji-Jime. Actually, both hands are down in this particular situation, and it's a rollover into a real tight strangle. And I always heard it called the Galan Special, named after a guy named Klaus Galan, who was an Olympic medalist, and he was a world-class judo player from Germany. And he did this back in the 60s with some great results. And we always call it the Galan Special. Other people may have called it something else. That's what I've always heard it called. So what it is, Mike's on elbows and knees. And when I approach him, I'm going to be kind of at an angle or even to the side. But what I want to do is my left hand, I want to get in, and let's come around here. Did everybody see here? When I reach under, this is just see what I'm getting here? I'm getting really deep. Palm, my thumb up by his ear. See that? Palm is down. Palm's grabbing the lapel here. See that? And it's coming under his arm. Okay, see that? All right, so come on back where we were, okay? So I've got that. So I can start from, I could be working him, I could be starting the side here, I could be starting at an angle, but a lot of people will think, when I do a lapel choke, I just come directly under the neck. Well, this fools them because I come under the armpit as well, okay? So that kind of fools them, all right? So there we have that. All right, now from this angle here, now I've got this, okay? Now, in this position here, I work with kind of this angle like this, and as I do, with my right hand, I grab this flap of judo jacket right here, okay? And it's usually fairly loose, okay? And that's where I'll get it. Now, I don't want to get real tight under my thumb, under his lapel or anything. Just this is enough, okay? That's enough. It clearly is enough. So I've got this, and I've got this. And now this hand is going to go, this elbow is going to straight down to the knot of his belt. I want to do this. So you'll see this, and you'll see this when I actually strangle him, okay? But to set him up for the strangle, so I've got this set up here. Now, I'm on my toes. Now, with one foot, my left foot, the foot that's closest over here. So my left hand is under his lapel. My left foot is going to prop, over here, so you see this. I'm going to prop my foot right on his knee, okay? And then I'm going to roll him over. So if you like this, prop my foot there. And just plant it there, okay? Not a sweep, it's a prop. Okay, now from here, as I take him over to my left, my right elbow is going to go straight in, and I'm going to roll right on top of him and finish with a really strong strangle. So I'm giving him some double trouble here. I'm not just strangling him, I'm also pinning him. So he's in trouble, and that's good for me. So here's like this, and I prop him over, and I come over the top, and when I come to the top, I post on my head. Now the reason I'm posting on my head, because I can really work this strangle tight. And if that doesn't work, I can settle in and keep it there. Can everybody see how I'm doing this? I'm posting on my head and really trapping. So it's it's really a double trouble situation. The strangle usually gets him, because if you come up, you see how I tripoded the top of my head, the 2 feet out, and I can hold him there like that for time, and put the choke on him. So here it is like this. So I come up through here, I'm going to whip this in somehow, but here I go, right here. Now foot prop here, come over the top, and as I come over the top, come on top here, pivot out like this. See this? I'm posting here. Now, if I need to choke him, I can do this. If he's a really tough guy and I can't choke him, just pin him. I get him for a pin. Okay, so you can see now we isolate an opponent, number one, and restrain him. That's the first part of the videos, the first part of the show you saw. The second, what you just saw, were the rolling strangles, very effective. And again, we didn't show all the strangles that could be done from these positions. We just showed some of them. So it's very early in the show. We just showed one method of doing sankaku jume, triangle choke. There are a lot of ways to do sankaku jume. So that being said, what I'm going to show now, just very briefly, this last clip here, this last shot here, is a combination of the two, of what happens when you can isolate them very strongly, and then a slight rolling action, a slight movement action to create more torque into the strangle. You'll see what I mean when you see this last video. So here we go. A variation of Jigoku Jume, Hell Strangle. We always call it the super choke here. We like the super choke. So let's take a look at it. So if Derek's on elbows and knees and Mike is to the side. Now, from your side position, you might have knocked him down. Somehow he's down on elbows and knees. You want to start pretty much directly from the side like Mike's doing here. Not so much head in front. Come to the front, Mike. You don't want to be up in this angle here. Because what Mike wants to do with his right knee, if you guys can come around here and see this. Okay, start again like you start standing. All right. So when Mike starts this, he's going to drive that knee, his right knee. He's going to fill that hole, that space between Derek's elbow and his knee. Okay, come up again, Mike. This is kind of a key point a lot of guys miss. See this distance in here? Sandy, can you come over here and show this here? This distance here is what Mike wants to drive that knee and fill that space with his knee. Now that's a key point. And why? Because it gives Mike a really good strong base here and puts him in the right angle. He wants to be sideways to Derek here. So he's got that. That's the start. Now you notice he's already started with his left hand. His left hand is starting to strangle. Kind of lift up so see how he's got the strangle already going there? He started that when he entered, okay? So do it again, come back here. So he grabs dress, he won't there, drives it in. Now he's sideways to Derek. He's got a nice strangle starting here on the lapel. And it is a lapel strangle, really. We're just going to use a leg assist with it. Now what Mike's going to do, he's going to drive his knee over Derek's head. And as he does that, he's going to sit on his left butt, on the left side of his butt, and he's going to roll in the direction of Derek's head. Where Mike's knee points, that's the way he's going to take Derek. Okay? Come back again. So when he comes here, and he stops, and he drives that knee over. Now when Mike puts his knee up, see, that's the direction Derek's head's going. And he lifts Derek up. There are a couple of ways to lift him up. You're literally lifting him up on top of his head. Come to the side there, he does all this stuff. Now let's look at this hand, okay? Now here's your strangling hand. This is your kind of your lifting hand and control hand. Now he can grab the belt and lift up. Let's show that one where you grab the belt and lift up. And you just lift up like that into the direction. See how you're lifting, okay? That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is doing the same thing there, but to take an ankle. Now when he came over here, he overhooked the ankle here, and he lifted Derek up into that direction there. Either way works really well. They both are very efficient ways of doing it. You can either grab the belt, and you can grab there are other ways to grab too, but these are the pretty good ones to start with. So let's look at that one more time. So Mike's knocked him out, he loops it around, he comes in, right? His right knee is in the hole, he fills that space, left leg over. Now in this case, he's grabbing the belt, okay? And when he's going to roll on his left hip in the direction of where his knee points. And that's the direction he takes Derek. He literally lifts him and plants Derek up. And he's using by laying into that left leg like that, it adds so much pressure on the back of Derek's neck. It really just chokes the snot out of you. So there you have it. There are two primary ways, I believe, in controlling an opponent to set him up for a strangle or a choke. One is you isolate him, you restrain his body, you restrict his movement as much as possible. Number two, you roll him to gain momentum, to gain torque into the strangle or choke. And again, this ties into there's a methodology of doing all this stuff. I mean, you want to control his body, you want to trap the part you're attacking, then you want to actually apply the technique. So what we worked on today in this video here today concerned itself was controlling and trapping your opponent. And remember, strangles and chokes are the great equalizer. A smaller person or a weaker person can do them on a much larger, more muscular person every time. Everybody's got a neck. And it doesn't matter how big, strong, or buffed you are, or how skilled you are in some other phase of fighting. You can be choked out. You can be strangled to a point of submission and tapping out. So strangles are the great equalizer, and I hope to shed a little light on it today. So thanks so much for watching, and tune in next time.